and welcome to our Facebook Live today. I'm Kathy Bates with Practical Solutions, and today we're going to be talking about setting up a notebook with all the information that we need for when the time comes. That's what I've called mine. Now, I've got a little background on this. This wasn't my idea. This started with a friend of my mom's. So my mom's friend, Judy Simmons, had her notebook. She called it When I Die, because like a lot of us, if something happened to us, there would be a lot of people that don't know how to do a lot of the things we do. So she put this notebook together and called it the When I Die notebook. My mom has always had this notebook as well, and she got the idea from Mrs. Simmons. And every time I visit, she shows me the notebook, goes through it, make sure I understand everything. She doesn't have a name for hers, but recently I was talking to one of my clients, Emma, and we were talking about how organized our parents are, which my mom is the most organized person you will ever meet. And Emma said that her mom had a box labeled for when the time comes. So that's what I labeled mine, for when the time comes. And I think that's a little more positive. My kids now know where this notebook is. It really was a labor of love. Was it easy? No. Is it hard to think about all these end times things? Yes, it is, because none of us want to die, but none of us know when we're going to die. So there is a certain peace that comes with knowing you've got this all down on paper, and if something happens, your kids just pick up the notebook and they start taking care of everything, and they have it all laid out for them. So we're going to go through some of the things in this notebook. It's really a document, or it can be a document on your computer. It can be a physical notebook. But this is something that's always going to be changing. It's never going to be perfect. I already have a little post-it in the front of mine with things I need to add that I've thought of. And I need to constantly be adding different things as my accounts change, as my passwords change. I'm always updating it. So it's very important that you know this doesn't have to be perfect. Just start it, get it started, start putting some things in it. It will come as you start. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect, but whatever you have is going to make it easy for your kids or whomever you leave everything with. So first off, I put a key inside of mine to the safe, so it's all in one place. So my kids will know if I put a copy in here and it says original and safe, like my trust, they know exactly where that is and how to get in there. Everything's in one place. The first section I have is things that they'll need for the funeral. So family history, our kids don't always know where we went to high school or something like that. They may want to know. That is going to be all laid out where they just kind of give it to whoever is doing the service. Also, I put in there copies of Social Security cards, birth certificates, marriage certificates, things they may need, who knows, and it says original and safe. So I don't want the originals in here. The next section I have is a to-do list. So the first to-do list I have is people to contact. So in case something were to happen to one of us, these are the people we would want contacted. And I tried to make it simple, like call my best friend and she'll let all my other friends know. Call my husband's best friend and he'll let all the other people. Call the oldest sibling and they'll let all the other siblings know. And that way they just go down the list and they don't have to sit there and go, did we miss something? Do we not have their phone number? How can we get hold of this? It's all right here. Then I go through and I make sure they have the information for the executor of the trust, which we're going to talk about trust a little bit, but next month we're going to actually have a guest. Esther Wong is going to be on. She is an estate attorney. She's going to talk about the importance of a trust and advance directives and things like that. So stay tuned for that, but in the meantime, we will be talking a little bit about the trust. So you definitely need to have a trust, especially in the state of California. But again, Esther will address all that. She knows much more about that than I do. But put in here the contact information for that executor of the trust. Then I have a list of things that I need to have them do kind of at their leisure. This may be things like when they sell the house, the utilities to disconnect, how many there are, who to call, who is the provider for that. credit cards they need to cancel. And behind that, I have some copies of the statements, so they have all of that information. They have the account number, but then they also have anything else they may need on that statement. And then one thing that a lot of my clients have told me they put in here is when I pass away, I want my kids to, if my company's no longer around, to call a senior move manager, because they can help you with all of the process of emptying the house. And that means identifying the things the family wants and getting them taken away, selling everything else, and then dividing it between the 3 children. There are things like that that I've laid out that are more practical, and I want them not to fight over anything. If one of them wants a bigger item like a car, they get it appraised, they divide it by 3, they pay off the other 2. Little things like that that are going to keep them from fighting, because really and truly that's what I want, is to leave my kids with good relationships with one another. I don't want this to come between them, because I've seen it come between people. But honestly, that third party of a professional organizer or senior move manager to help you through the process is something that keeps the family strong. And they come with a list of experienced people to deal with, people that are honest and trustworthy, estate sales, people to sell cars, whatever they need. And a lot of people have told me their card is in their files so that their kids know to contact us when the time comes for them. I've also got information on any property owned, deeds, copies of the deeds, not the original deeds, anything like that they need to know about, even like the appraisal for my ring that, my husband got me 30 years ago. Little things like that may help them with anything we leave to them. Then there's like a general, that's the general to-do list. Then we go into the information section. And in this section, I have people they need to contact. So this is my CPA, how are we going to do their final taxes? My trust lawyer, the one that wrote up our trust, the one that's going to help execute it. Financial planners, my husband's boss. There may be things they need to find there, as well as the HR director at his company, so they can call him about life insurance and anything else they need. So that's some of the information. Then I also have family contact information, and I have passwords, because it's really important that they may need to close down accounts. I remember when my husband's dad died and we had his Facebook account, and it was like, how do we close out his Facebook account? It was when Facebook was new. Nobody ever thought about what happens when somebody passes. So having those contact information, the passwords, is really important. The next section I have is on medical. It's got family history of medical. My kids may want to know that their grandmother died of whatever, and so they know their family history, who had cancer, who had macular degeneration, things like that. That'll help them. This is also a form that I keep for me and my husband. When we go to the doctor or the hospital, we will take it with us, and I don't have to figure out how many milligrams of whatever I take. It's all on this sheet. It's always updated. So if you ever needed an emergency, they would know it's right here. Behind that is our advanced directives, saying, we don't want extreme measures to be taken to keep us alive in the event of a life-threatening whatever. So those are this is making it easy, again, on the kids to have that in place, because they don't have to be the one to make the decision to pull the plug or not to pull the plug. We don't want them to have any extra stress. They can perfectly handle this, and I'm sure they can make good decisions, but we don't ever want them to second guess it. So having it in advance really makes it easy for them. Next section is bank accounts. I have a list of all my bank accounts with what bank, their phone number, and then statements behind that. Then investments, same thing. Names of the companies, phone numbers, account numbers, copies of the statements. Then I go to insurance, and I went ahead and put all of our insurance in there: home, auto, life, health, and all that information is there for them in case they need it. They're going to need to cancel our auto insurance when they sell the car and things like that. And then my last section is something you may or may not need, and that is about my business, what I wish to happen with my business, who will take over ownership, how that will be taken care of, everything that needs to be done. And of course, I have a procedure manual for my business because I don't want me to die and all of the information to be in my head. And there's no one who knows what in the world I did. So it is really important to have these things in place. Now, your notebook may look very different. Again, it could be an electronic version that you can just have all the kids have access to. It may be a physical version. Yours may have different tabs than mine, but that's just a little bit of an idea of what kind of things I may think of more. You may even put in the comments below things that I need to consider and put in my notebook. So I welcome that. Again, next month, October 12th at 10 o'clock, we're going to have Esther Wong on. It is going to be a little bit different format. It's not going to be a Facebook Live. It is going to be a pre-recorded video that we're going to post on the 12th at 10 o'clock. So stay tuned for that. Esther is an amazing lady, and you will really benefit from her. And we do have a question I want to go ahead and address. Willeen said, do you have a framework book to do this? I don't. I just, again, those are the topics. If you want to, I can give you the tabs that I used. Again, you may have totally different ones. But yeah, it just doesn't have to be perfect. And everybody's is going to be different. So I hope that's helpful to you. But Willeen, please feel free to call me, 909-307-4862. With any questions, anyone can do that. I welcome questions all the time. But if you need help with this, we can also help. We've done all kinds of neat stuff. We talked before about how we inventory an entire house so that when the person passes away, their kids just look at this online platform and are able to see all the things in their parents' house. And you can even have neat little things set up where they have so much, virtual money and they get to bid on things. So we have all kinds of creative ways to help with the physical contents of the house. This is that, the financial house, having that in order. And then of course, next month, join us on the 12th as we talk with Esther Wong on making sure you have an estate plan, you have a trust, you have advanced care directives, so that you are leaving everything in a good situation. So thanks so much for joining us. We'll see you next time.